Hello farmers, thank you for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. This week's edition has been recorded in a muddy farm because we are receiving incessant rains this January. Now today we are here in Mashonaland East in Murewa at Alpha Farm, where we are going to be looking at sorghum production. We are going to be looking at the planting of sorghum, the necessary requisites to ensure that our sorghum is established and becomes a healthy crop. Now if you look at it in general in Zimbabwe, most of our farmers do not have the irrigation equipment that is required to produce under these climate changes. However, not to worry, you can still make a profitable venture out of agriculture and remain profitable, because agriculture can be taken as a formidable business through the planting and the cropping of climate smart varieties, with then I'm referring to traditional grains, which is what we are going to be looking at today. So to discuss this and more, we have taken the liberty of inviting our experts. As usual, we are going to be talking to Dennis Simbe. Thank you, Dennis, for joining us once again on this week's edition.
Yeah, welcome, Wadza.
Yes. Today we are going to be looking at sorghum planting. We are looking to establish a sorghum crop. Can you maybe take us through the variety that we are going to be planting today, and even the planting bracket for sorghum here in Zimbabwe?
Thank you, Wadza. Yes, we are here in Murewa South at Alpha Farm.
Yes.
Where we are going to establish 50 hectares of sorghum here. The variety that we are going to plant here is SV4, which is an open pollinated variety. This variety is very good. It has a yield potential of up to 6-7 tons per hectare in some cases.
Okay.
Yeah, and the ideal period for planting sorghum usually is from November to December, but we are now in January. We are still planting, because of climate change. Our rains are coming a bit late.
Yes.
And we encourage our farmers to continue planting the small grains, one of them being sorghum, up to maybe the 15th of January.
Okay.
It's still okay.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for alluding to the fact that even though we are past the planting dates, but due to climatic changes, it is still possible for farmers to be planting and establishing their sorghum crop, even if we are in January.
Yes, and you can still get some decent yields. Yeah.
Okay. Moving right along, Dennis, is there a specific type of soil that supports sorghum production, and what that could be? What could that be?
With sorghum, it thrives in a wide range of soils.
Okay.
All you need to ensure is that your soils are well drained.
Okay.
But it does thrive in a wide range of soils.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Let us talk about fertilizer application. When it comes to basal dressing, as we can see, we are going to be witnessing them beginning here at Alpha Farm. They are beginning their planting of sorghum using their plant drill. Can you maybe tell us the fertilizer application, the requirements per hectare, the types of fertilizer that should be applied that support sorghum production?
To a large extent, fertilizer application should be based on soil analysis results. But we do have a general recommendation where we say 200 kgs to 350 kgs should suffice per hectare for you to get a decent yield of above 5 tons per hectare. So here we are going to be applying 200 kgs per hectare of 7-14-7.
Okay.
That's what we are going to use as a basal dressing.
Okay,
yes.
When it comes to top dressing, I understand that in weeks to come shortly, we are going to be applying top dressing.
Of course.
What is it going to be like specifically for sorghum?
Yeah, what we will do for sorghum, we will come in twice. We will split the top dressing into two. Okay. We come in with the first application at 4 weeks after emergence, and then we'll come again at between 6 to 8 weeks, or just before booting.
Okay.
We come in with the second application. Yes. Of our AN.
Now, Dennis,
and to add on to that, we target to put 200 kgs again. So in the first instance, we come with 100 kgs and then the balance of 100 kgs at putting stage.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Dennis, there is absolutely no doubt that this farmer did do land preparation. However, as we are standing in this field today, we can see some weeds emerging. Some are even up to a length whereby they are at their vegetative stage as weeds.
Yes.
What are you going to use to control these weeds, given that you are starting to plant? And I understand that when the rainfall comes, there comes the issue surrounding weed management. We'll have more weeds and we'll have to invest more in making sure that the field is clean. What are you going to be applying to ensure that when the sorghum emerges, it won't compete for food, sunlight, etc. with the weeds that we are already seeing now?
It's a very important question, Wadza. Yeah, there are a number of herbicides that we can use for sorghum, but suffice to say at this moment, not all soils can be for sorghum. You can use your herbicide.
Okay.
Your clay content has to be above 25%.
Okay.
For you to be able to apply a herbicide, especially the pre-emergent herbicides. Here in particular, we are going to be using atrazine.
Okay.
But then for your sorghum, you have to mix your seed with a softener, a herbicide softener. Because if you don't do that, then otherwise you are going to have your sorghum affected, and the plant population will be very low.
Okay.
So you mix your herbicide, your seed with the herbicide softener, and then you plant. Soon after, you then come in with your atrazine.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
And your concern of these other weeds which are already present on our field, we are going to mix atrazine and our glyphosate. So the glyphosate will take care of these weeds which are already there, and then the atrazine will take care of those that are still to emerge.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dennis. That was very detailed, and you also alluded to the fact that when you are going to be applying your herbicide, ensure that your clay content in the soil is 25%
and above.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you heard it, viewers. On that note, we are going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. As you can see, the position that I'm standing on, I am slowly sinking into the soil. However, muddy boots gets the job done. We are here in Murewa today. We are going to be talking about sorghum production. And we are still saying that for our farmers, those that fail to plant our staple maize or be it tobacco, you can still take advantage of these climate smart varieties in terms of sorghum that we are going to be discussing today. Our viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer Wadzanai Manyore on 0772-807-506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness Wadzanai. We are also now available on Twitter, and our Twitter handle there is at Agribusiness110. Leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Now, earlier on, before we went to the break, Dennis here was telling us of herbicide application, how it can be applied, especially in a field like this one. We are receiving rainfall, and as you can see, some weeds have already emerged and some are still to come. Dennis, we are in the second segment of our program. Welcome back.
Thank you, Wad.
Yes. As we get deeper into our discussion, Dennis, I want you to enlighten our viewers there at home. As you can see, the skies are gray. We are going to be receiving rainfall in a short while. Maybe within a matter of hours, we are going to be receiving rainfall.
Yes.
Does that have any impact or any effect on sorghum that we are going to be planting right now?
Yeah, the challenge we are having here was, as you can see, it's very muddy. We are worried. We are getting late. We are already in January. We couldn't be able to plant at the beginning of the season because of the dry conditions.
Yes.
So with these persistent rains, it is going to make it difficult for us to plant.
Okay.
Because as you can see, the soil is very muddy. The
very sticky.
Clay content is high here.
Okay.
So we'll probably need to wait for another 2 days without any rains for us to be able to plant.
Get in and plant.
Yeah.
Okay. Dennis, I want us to talk about the pests and diseases that can be a nuisance in sorghum production. What are those, and what sort of chemicals do you use to control those pests and diseases?
Yeah, correct, Wadza. You know, our sorghum is a cereal just as good as your maize. So you find out that most of the pests that are a nuisance in your maize, they also cause havoc in your sorghum.
Yes.
We can talk of pests like your stalk borer. It's also a nuisance in sorghum. So there's a need to constantly scout for that. 4 armyworm is another one, which can also be problematic in your sorghum. We also talk of armyworm. It can be a problem. There's also the sorghum maggot. There's also aphids, especially in the dry weather. Okay. Aphids can also be a problem in sorghum. So as to the chemical remedies, there is a wide array for that. For your aphids, you can use your dimethoate. For your 4 armyworm, you can use your nemesis. You know, there's a wide range of chemicals that can be used. Yeah.
There is a general misconception when it comes to these climate smart varieties. When we talk in terms of our farming community, they might say that given that this is a drought resistant variety, traditional grains in general are drought tolerant, they are disease tolerant. They might talk and allude to the fact that you might not need fertilizer that much because these are drought tolerant. You might not need those chemicals that much because they are disease resistant. Your sentiments and your views on that, because we are talking of agriculture being a formidable business, and to ensure that we get yields, because when we get good yields, we will then get a good return per dollar invested. Your sentiments when it comes to those views from our farming community?
You know, Wadzanai, you know, farming is a business.
Yes.
As you have already alluded to. So if it's a business, do it business-wise. Business-wise is you have to use your fertilizers, your chemicals for you to boost your yields. You have to get high yields. You know, we talk of varieties which have got a yield potential of above 5 tons of sorghum. Some even up to 8 tons per hectare.
Okay.
So for one to achieve such kind of yields, you have to pay attention to detail. Paying attention to detail is doing everything in time and applying the inputs in adequate quantities. You know, for example, we are talking of sorghum here. Sorghum, we can use it for grain, human consumption.
Yes.
We can still use it for our livestock feeds.
Okay.
You know, so you can also add value by processing. You know, so as a business, do it the correct way.
Okay, thank you so much, Dennis. As we round off the second segment, the key fundamentals that a farmer who wants to get into sorghum production needs to take cognizance of. Can you maybe highlight just a few? Because we understand that in maize, there are those that we look at and to ensure that we become productive and the yield is good. And there is sorghum. They are both cereals, but I understand that there might be some differences in some instances. Those key fundamentals that every farmer wants to get into sorghum production that needs to take cognizance of, what are they?
You find with most of the farmers, they look down upon these small grains.
Exactly.
And you know, they pay more attention to their tobaccos, their maize, and then at the tail end of the season, you know, there's a misconception that, you know, farmers, they always say this one is drought tolerant, you can even plant it without much rain.
It's
yes, of course.
Tolerant, I can just leave it and not manage it. It will survive.
No, you won't get the yield. So it's important to also consider these small grains seriously and do the land preparation well in time. Make sure you have got the correct varieties well in place at the farm. Make sure you got enough inputs and apply them adequately not to like you want to put 5 hectares and then you use 200 kgs on a stretch of 5 hectares when we are recommending 200 kgs for a hectare.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are some of the fundamentals that farmers have to look seriously when they are considering these small grains. And you know, with issues of climate change, now we are talking of climate smart agriculture. You find out things like your sorghum. I can mention other things like your groundnuts, your sunflower, your pearl millet, your finger millet. Those are really the crops to consider, considering the times that we find ourselves in. Over the past 3-4 seasons, you know, our rains have been coming a bit late, and it's ending very early. You know, so yeah, I think farmers should seriously consider these small grains.
Okay, thank you so much, Dennis. There you heard it, viewers. We are moving in a period whereby we are experiencing long dry spells, and maybe sometimes we have incessant rains in a very short period of time. And he is saying that he is encouraging our Zimbabwean farmers to take the production of traditional grains seriously, because they are climate smart varieties. On that note, we are going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. We are in the third and final segment, and as we are rounding off, it looks like it's going to be raining just now. So we are going to be cooking in our pests as we round off this episode. Dennis, welcome back.
Well, thank you, Wada.
Yes, I would like us to talk about the shift in our tastes and preferences as consumers. We might be agronomists, but at the same time, we're also consumers. You would find that now our consumers have shifted from the notion of just being food secure, but they are moving towards food luxuries, whereby they want a basket with variety. Would want our white maize meal, but at the same time, your sentiments to a farmer in Zimbabwe who was looking to get into sorghum production, the importance, the advantages that come with producing sorghum?
You know, sorghum is one of the most nutritious small grains that we have. And you know, these days people are very sensitive to what they eat. And you know, with your sorghum, you know, it is gluten free, and it actually promotes weight loss, and we actually recommend its consumption.
Okay, thank you so much, Dennis. I want us to talk about the post-harvest maintenance nitty-gritties. Usually farmers get it right in the field. There are agronomic practices, chemical application, but when it comes to maintaining the yield that they would have gotten from the field, sometimes we incur losses. What are your comments on that, your word of advice to our farming community?
It begins with the choice of the seed. We have got many varieties. Some are tall, some are short.
Yes.
And also the method of harvesting which we are going to use. For example, here we are going to establish SV4, which is a short to medium variety, very ideal for combining. But there are some varieties which are very tall, and those varieties, if you are not mindful of your plant population, there will be a tendency of lodging, which might actually make it difficult to come in with your combine. You start experiencing some losses in the field. Yes. So it's important to choose some good varieties. When it comes to harvesting, I said you can use your combine, or you can hand harvest using either some sickles or some knives, whereby you just cut the head and make sure you dry them well before you can then process them, either by hand threshing and then winnowing. Okay. Yes, and then you bag. And also farmers should be cognizant of dressing their grain using grain protectants. Yeah, there are a number of these grain protectants which they can use to protect their grain. Wadzanai.
Thank you so much, Dennis. As we round off, I want us to talk about the yield, expected yield per hectare. You would find that some farmers are still stuck with the notion that maize is still profitable, because with maize I can get even up to 12 tons a hectare, but with sorghum it's just about 5 tons. Sure, I should stick with maize. Not that I'm discouraging maize production, but I'm saying this taking note that we are moving in periods whereby we are experiencing climate change and it's becoming a reality. So
Yes.
we need to now look into producing climate smart varieties, which is why I'm emphasizing on production of plants like sorghum. Can you maybe talk to us in terms of the yield per hectare, the plant population, and to ensure that a farmer at the end of the season remains in business when he is get into sorghum production?
Okay, Yoaza, thank you. What is important, Wadzanai, is from your crop establishment, you have to ensure that you have got enough plant population per unit area. Because we are talking of productivity per unit area. You wouldn't just put your hands in the pockets and say, I've got 50 hectares of sorghum here, when the plant population is very, very low. You need to achieve the correct plant population, which is in the region of 250,000 to 350,000 plants per hectare.
That is for you to get the expected 5 to 6 tons per hectare.
Yes, correct. And how do you achieve that? That is achievable by using a seed rate of between 8 to 10 kgs per hectare.
Okay.
Yeah. When you are using a seed drill like we are going to do here, you find you use in the region of 7 to 8 kgs per hectare. But when it's hand planting, it's kind of wasteful. It's not precise.
Yes.
So you tend to put more. So you need in the region of 10 kgs per hectare.
Okay.
And your spacing interrow should you should aim for about 75 centimeters between rows, and your in row 7 to 10 centimeters apart. Yes, for you to achieve such kinds of plant population.
Thank you so much, Dennis. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Yeah, welcome, Waza.
There you heard it, viewers. I was holding my breath, praying to God that it doesn't rain or it will have affected our cameras. On that note, viewers, see you next week on this weekly's edition. I am Wadzanai Manyore. I'm also on Instagram. It's W Manyore, and Mukoma Dani Daniel Mranganwa. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.